trying to figure out what's going on, so I'll push that button if it breaks. And the miss. Like, look. We're going to officially call this regular Board of Trustee meeting to order. 7:02 p.m. If you could stand with me and stand the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us in person and via YouTube. Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot. Here. Trustee Roll. Here. Trustee Taylor.
Present.
Trustee Mosley.
Here.
Trustee Williams.
Present.
Trustee Brown.
Here.
Thank you. A motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes, January the 6th, 2026.
I'll second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Taylor.
Present.
I'm sorry. Minutes.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed as presented. Open to the public for agenda items only. The clerk will time. This is the time. If you have any agenda items, please step up. No public agenda items. We'll move to bills payable. Jansen.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. So bills payable for January 16, 2026. Corporate fund, $500,383.16, $500,383.16. Motor fuel tax fund, $25,946.17. Water account, $17,304.55. Glenwood Golf Course, $19,226.09. TIF Halsted South, $10,000. Total all funds, $52,860.27.
Okay, I have a motion to approve bills payable January 16, 2026. Total funds, $572,860.27.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Thank you. Motion passed. Jansen, payroll.
Payroll for January 9th, the check date of January 9th, 2026. Administrative, $20,693.66. Public Works, $13,842.22. Police Department, $102,183.12. Fire Department, $17,750.71. Senior Center, $172.99. Elected positions, $1,071.32. Sewer and Water, $25,718.13. Glenwood Golf Course, $11,453.20, for a total payroll of $192,891.35. We did have reimbursable expenses or overtime of $454.28, which brings down our grand total payroll to $192,437.07.
Thank you. I ask for a motion to approve payroll for January the 9th, 2026, in the amount of $192,437.
So moved.
Any questions? Any questions regarding the overtime payroll for January the 9th? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Trustee Roll. Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Communication from the mayor's office, just a reminder, starting this Saturday, we'll have chat with the mayor. The new time would be from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Looking forward to having conversation. Is your vision that we're looking to move forward. So hope to see you on Saturday. That's every fourth Saturday. The second item that's on there, that we did the reappointment for Alan Scampy, our last board member. So I think that might have just been put there in A. No other communications from the mayor's office. Attorney's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The one item for the attorney's report would be ordinance number 2026-001, approval of an ordinance amending inspection fees listed in Appendix B, Schedule of Fees for the Code of Ordinances for the Village of Glenwood, Illinois. I would defer to the village administrator.
Thank you, Attorney Seckler. This one is just, again, continuing with our review of policies, ordinances, village. It came to our attention a couple of things. One is our inspection fees are about the lowest in this region of the county by far. The second thing was the village does not currently have anybody on staff that's certified by the state to do building, HVAC, electrical, or plumbing inspections. Some of those are mandated by the state currently that need to be licensed. Some of them are going to be coming up in some new legislation that was passed and signed. And so the increase in the fee is twofold. One, it's going to allow us to bring in an outside inspector who is certified in those things on a contract basis per inspection. It will allow us to pay their fee and then the village to still recoup our staff costs as well. And two, it will bring us more in line with the surrounding communities. So it's a pretty nominal change. The inspection fee goes from 75 to 125 under this new change, and the re-inspection fee goes from 50 to 80.
Any questions? Well, before we do the questions, I need a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-01, approval of ordinance amending the inspection fee list.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
I have more of a comment. Back in 2018, we actually had a fee committee. The fee committee was convened to do exactly what you're doing now. Unfortunately, the fee committee only did the A's, which is animals and alcohol. But we didn't do it. So I would, I'd be happy to chair a committee, or someone else could chair a committee to have a fee committee and all the fees from A to Z. Thank you.
I have a question as well. Will these new fees cover the full cost of the contracted inspector?
Yes, that's the purpose of the intent behind raising the fees, is so that the village is not losing ground.
Okay.
Any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Roll. Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Village administrator.
Thank you. Couple quick updates, and then I'll jump into the items on the agenda. So the first is, at prior meetings, there has been some comments made about the new website and some of the photos and representation. We have begun the process of changing some of those photos. I spent some time Saturday going through and swapping out some of them. There are a couple that still remain that are less than diverse, I will say, but they're a little bit more complicated to swap out. And so I've reached out to website company for assistance with that, but we listened and we're working on getting that done. So, stay tuned for that. We'll get the rest of them swapped out. Secondly, a reminder, the village hall is now open Saturdays from you need to come pay your water bill or transact any business with the village, we open from 9 to past Saturday. We did have a few people come through to pay their water bill and take care of other village business, so that was nice to see, taking advantage of that. Then at the previous meeting, there was a couple of public comments that we addressed, and I just want to address them to make sure the public knows we are listening and taking care of responses that come through public comment. So the first was the smell in the Brookwood Point of the village. The fire chief made contact with the people that are in charge of the farm, the old Zeldenhurst Farm Conservation Fund. They had an issue with their equipment. So if you had noticed driving past there recently, it's very clear that they've spread a new layer of manure on the field there. They were not able to till it into the field because they had an equipment malfunction. And unfortunately, the result of that was when wind came out of the southwest, it blew that smell right into the chief made contact with them. We had some emails back and forth. The woman apologized for that. She assured us that they had gotten their equipment fixed, that next spring when they go through this process again, that should not be an issue. But positive side, we now have contact with, get in touch with, and this is an issue. We've confirmed that's where the smell was coming from. So we've got progress there. Hopefully, once it warms up again in the spring, we won't have the issue. But if we do, we know how to get in touch with the people responsible now. The other thing the fire chief wanted me to mention, actually, he doesn't want, he's not trying to take public credit for this, but it's a commendation to him and the fire department and his leadership in cleaning out the old fire station. They found 15 air packs that had been unused. They were old air packs that the fire department replaced years ago. Prairie State College is always looking for donations to use for their training, so he donated some of those to Prairie State College. He also donated those to the Black Fire Brigade in Chicago to use in their training, and he went to drop those air packs off. If you haven't seen the video, there's a video on our Facebook page of the chief putting on a demonstration for the cadets there at the Black Fire Brigade on how to use those air packs. So I wanted to make sure I made mention of that and gave the chief his props for that because he won't take credit for it himself. Finally, to the items on the agenda, the first one is, it's a simple proposal from Lansing Heating to replace the HVAC unit at Hickory Fieldhouse. If there are any questions about that, Public Works Director Joe, speak to that. Items 3 and 4, I sent a memo to the board on Saturday regarding these items. This is the result of several months of negotiations with a Tower Point. We began conversations in August relating to the cell phones, or 2 of the cell phone sites that the village currently owns leases on. One of them being the water tank right here next to the Blakey Center, the other one being the cell phone tower at Glenwood Golf Course. If you've had an opportunity to look at the memo, I'll just summarize it very quickly. Essentially, the village owns, I believe, 5 sites throughout the village that have current active leases with telecommunication companies. That means AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and a few other private companies lease space, lease easement rights on those sites to put their satellite dishes or their antennas or whatever they need as part of their network. As time goes on, those leases have a 60-day out clause. So T-Mobile, AT&T, whoever it is, can come to us at any time and say, we're terminating this lease with 60 days notice. That's it. No more money for the village. Over the course of the last few years, we went from 9 leases to 5. Of those 5, one of them has recently given us notification that they would like to either terminate or renegotiate the terms of their lease because they're losing money on it themselves. So these leases seem to be more and more losing proposition for the individual cell phone carriers. However, in that vacuum, a few companies have stepped in and they're gobbling these lease sites up across the country. They're basically gambling on the increase in rural broadband activity, the increase in high-speed internet, the increase in cellular technology. Having a large pool of these leases available to them will be cost effective for them in the future. And so what they have done is they've gone around to municipalities that have cell phone leases that are diminishing returns for the cell phone companies, and they're offering to buy the lease. So essentially they're coming to us and they're saying, you have this 5-year lease with AT&T that they can get out of at any time with 60 days notice. We'll buy that lease from you for a 50-year right, and we'll give you a lump sum cash payment right now for it. And we will accept all of the risk if they opt out of it next month. So there are 3 sites in my conversations with this company. I also had conversations with 2 other companies that do this. Neither one of them were particularly interested in any of these 3 lease sites that are here before us tonight. I also spoke with a company that auctions off the rights to these lease sites. They told me that they would not be interested in taking our sites to auction because they didn't think there was going to be money to be made for the village there. And I've spoken with the president of St. Xavier University, who dealt with this company that I've got on the agenda before us tonight, and sold their lease sites. So we've done a lot of due diligence. These conversations have been going on back and forth since August. This is the best deal we were able to negotiate. We got the initial offer from 99 years down to 50 years while increasing the down payment money that's coming to the village. I think, given what I've said in the memo, this lump sum payment for us is a win right now to help us address some long-term capital issues that we may have coming down the road that haven't been planned for in the past. And the additional piece that we've got negotiated into this deal is, as these deals go on, if TowerPoint, which is the company before us tonight, brings in new companies to lease space on the sites they're buying these to, we get 50% of that revenue as well. So in addition to the lump sum down payment that's mentioned in this memo, we are also entitled to a 50% share for the 50-year term leases. So I laid a lot more detail out in the memo that the board received on Saturday. I would urge and ask the board to approve both of these letters of intent. Letters of intent are not final binding contracts. It allows our attorneys to enter into final negotiations with their attorneys over the fine print and the minutia. Once those agreements are hammered out, we'll come back to the board for one more approval. We'll close on it and we will receive those funds in one lump sum.
Okay.
I think that is.
First one, before we do questions. I'm seeking a motion to approve the proposal for Lansing Heat placed back at Hickory Glen Field House not to exceed $8,995.
Second.
Any questions?
I have a couple quick questions. Why are we going with the 80% instead of a 90 or 95% efficient furnace to save a couple pennies on gas?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Why are we going with the 80% instead of a 90 or 95% furnace?
Oh, Joe?
What's in the field house is residential furnaces. There's 3 of them. And that's pretty much the norm, I believe, for residential furnaces at 80%.
Okay.
And that's what they offered.
So I'm thinking, that as gas prices increase, the higher efficiency might pay for itself.
Before I give them the go ahead, I'll mention that to
Okay.
them and see what they can
All right, appreciate
back
it.
with.
All right, thanks.
Any other question? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Ask for a motion for the acceptance of the letter of intent for TowerPoint to purchase interest in the wireless site at 9 South Rebecca.
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned the revenue share amount for any new, do you have an ideal, approximate idea of what the revenue would be for any new?
For any new revenue, I do not.
Okay.
The bonus for me on that point was it differentiates this deal from, say, for example, the parking meter deal that Chicago cut or the tollway deal that Chicago cut, where we're not just selling out our future rights. We're guaranteeing that as the company benefits from our sites, we also benefit, and we benefit at a 50-50 split. And my understanding of their business model is they make money with the more leases they can add to our towers. And so the more they're incentivized to do that, the more money comes back to us as well.
Right. So for this company, TowerPoint is a aggregate.
Yes.
What they do is they acquire cell phone towers all over the country. They repackage them and sell them to other investors. So my concern is, so if you're happy with getting the top dollar, now I ran some numbers, that's what I do. At a 6% cap, the value came out to $1,434.8 million. Now, I'm not saying we should negotiate for another $1 million, but $1 million, I mean, I'm sorry, another 134,000, but 134,000 is 134,000. My main concern is, what are we gonna do with the money to, replace the income that we're losing?
So the initial conversations that we've had here internally are to take a portion of that money and satisfy some of the capital expenses that were expended but not budgeted for previously, and take a bulk of the money and put it in a money-making account and have that money-making account essentially be a long-term capital project fund and seeding it with this money.
Okay.
So that as we go forward in the future, the money is making money for us, but we've also got it available to us as we build out a long-term capital projects. And I'm speaking mostly about equipment, fire, police, public works equipment, where we will now have access to some funds to help plan out a 5 and 10-year replacement plan on some of that equipment. The average age of our fleet in the village right now, 19.6 years. Of all of our vehicles across the board. And when I say that, I'm excluding fire trucks and ambulances and the public works dump trucks and snowplows. So when I'm speaking about vehicles at the fire station that are not fire trucks or ambulances, the police vehicles and the vehicles at public works that are not the big full snowplows, the average age of those vehicles is 19.6 years. And we should be looking to turn those over every 4 to 5 years.
So 5G is going to require up to 10 times more towers than 4G. If the bandwidth is less, you're going to need more towers. Is it possible for us to take a portion of this money and maybe have more towers that do allow 5G and new leases? And have we contacted, for example, the lease with AT&T expired in October of last year? Did we contact AT&T to say that they wanted to continue leasing, or did we have any negotiations with AT&T?
We did not. The offer was to come in and buy up the lease as it existed. And so given what's happened with the leases that have gone away and terminated at this point, if this company is going to come in and buy up the lease, and again, this is all still subject to due diligence on their part. So if they come back and say, oh, we got word from AT&T that they're going to terminate or not renew,
Right.
That would change the bottom line. To your first part of the question, yes, that's possible. That's all part of a longer discussion once I think we get past this part, but it's certainly worth exploration.
If your thought process for me is the more income we have outside of property taxes,
100%.
the less burden there are on the taxpayers.
100% agree.
Did you say that T-Mobile said no to their new term?
Not T-Mobile,
Oh,
Crown
Verizon?
Castle, which is not included as part of
Oh,
these
okay.
sales. One of the other leases that still is out there, they didn't say no. They've indicated that they will either, they're looking at terminating their lease unless we renegotiate it with them. So
Gotcha.
there may be something back before the board on that one, but that's separate from these three that are.
And what's the possibility of taking some of these funds, setting up a reserve fund? I think a reserve fund is $200,000, which will probably pay bills in this town for days. So it'd be nice to have that, portion of that money in a reserve fund, again, getting interest.
Sure.
So that when there is a late tax bill or when the county decides they're not going to send a check, we aren't saying, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable request as well, as we kind of go through this process of outlaying where this money is going to go. That's certainly worth consideration as well.
And Trustee Hatnot, just so that you're aware, as the village administrator and I have multi-conversations, that the first priority was in looking at funds for capital expense and us having no reserve for capital expense and expenditures that have been expensed but not having the funds. So this was a part of us identifying and finding funds to pay for projects out there, but to ensure that we have interest-bearing accounts going forward for some of those unexpected expenses that may come up going forward.
But also, there's also, I think we have a bond, I'm not sure what their interest rate is, I think it's like 6%. That might be a return where we could pay the bond off and say there'll be a saving for the taxpayers and a burden from their tax bills as well.
Okay. Any other question?
I have a question. So if I understand it completely, this is a letter of intent.
Correct.
Okay, so with this letter of intent, we will move forward to come up with a contract, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so when that you already stated that the contract would be presented to the board
Correct.
for final approval.
Yes.
So my next question is, does the finance committee get this information as well?
We can certainly send it to the finance committee. I don't think it requires action on their part.
They normally review things with this large dollar amount.
It's not an expense to the village, it's income to the village, so I wouldn't think that the finance committee would necessarily have to review it. Again, I defer to the mayor or the finance chair.
And again, because as the village administrator stated, this is revenues that we're looking to do that, and not necessarily, we're not offering incentives and or them providing us specific service operational. So we didn't see a need for accepting revenues that it grow through the finance department any different if we were seeking grants for specific projects to expense.
One more question. Do you have an estimated turnaround time for this?
So once if the board approves these LOIs tonight, tomorrow morning, I will make sure that Attorney Seckler and his team connect with the folks from Tower Point and their attorneys, and they can start hammering out the details on it. They'll go through their due diligence period, but I think what they told me is they typically try to close within 40 to 50 days of agreement on a contract. So whatever that period looks like between now and getting the contract, once the contract comes before the board, which I would hope would be done again in another 30 to 45 days. So 3 to 4 months, I think total would be my timeline on it based on my conversations with them.
Okay, somewhere around March or April.
April or May.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I know we talked earlier, and you gave me a lot of insight on this, and I think it's a good idea. I just want to ask you a couple details that I didn't get a chance to ask you earlier. So when you look at the three carriers, let's say AT&T, like the date of the next escalation has passed already compared to the date of the next one that's closest is in April, and then the next one is next year in November. Can you explain what the dates of the next escalations actually, how that would impact us versus the terms,
Sure.
the frequency term versus annual?
Sure. The escalation dates are dates within the contracts, within those leases, where any CPI or percent increase would go into place. I think with regards to the AT&T one, that date's probably a typo because these letters were just updated. As I stated, we've been talking since August about these three leases. And so when I asked them to update these letters for me to bring to the board tonight, I'm going to guess that they did not change that 2025 to 2026 on the AT&T one. And then if you look at the T-Mobile and Verizon, the difference in the percentage there is because one is for the term, which was a 10-year term, and the escalation would kick in at that term. If they were to renew, the Verizon would kick in annually on April 1st. And so those are, again, looking at why we'd kind of like to get this done sooner than later is, although they can technically terminate these leases on 60-day notices, as we approach both of these term ending dates for those two we'd like to get the liability on the outside company rather than ourselves, the risk on them rather than ourselves, if those terms are coming up.
Okay, so you're going to go back and see if the AT&T date, like the edit the date of the.
Yeah, my guess is that was just, they didn't add that escalation, that April, or the October, what is it, October 1st or October 30th? October 1st date, that's the escalation date every year on the AT&T one. So they probably just didn't update that table on the,
And I would also suggest moving quickly, especially with the competitions between the carriers and all the things that are happening behind the scenes. Yeah, I would suggest that we move quicker.
I have
No.
one question. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So, in the 50-year term, should Tower sell this contract to someone else, will we be protected to still receive our 50%?
yes, I believe Attorney Seckler will make sure that's a part of any final agreement that comes before the board.
Any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
trustee Mosley,
Yes.
trustee Taylor,
Yes.
trustee Brown,
Yes.
trustee Roll.
Thank you. Motion passed. I'm seeking a motion for acceptance of the letter of intent from Tower Point to purchase the interest in wireless at 120 North Main Street.
Second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
trustee Roll, trustee Taylor,
Yes.
trustee Brown,
Yes.
trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed. Any department, I'm sorry.
I sure didn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. Trustee Williams.
You say you are present.
Yes, sir.
All apologies. Any departmental reports?
Yes, Mayor, I have one quick one. Good evening. Just want to give a quick update about the overgrowth on 187th and 183rd Street that was mentioned during public comment at the last meeting. Public Works was able to get out there last week and trim all that back to the fence line, and we'll continue to maintain it throughout the year.
Thank you. Any other departmental reports? Departmental reports were board's agenda packets. Any trustee reports?
Yes, I have a quick note. The next Ethics Committee meeting will be this Thursday, January 22nd at 6 p.m., where we'll be probably approving our presentation to be made to the board sometime in February, March.
Any other trustee reports?
Yes. On behalf of the Golf Committee will hold a meeting this Saturday at Glenwood at 9 a.m. And the Beautification Committee also is submitting recommendations and goals and ideas from the committee about things in the community for beautification.
Okay. Any other trustee reports?
The forest, the next meeting for the forest is tomorrow, 6:30. It's not? Oh, okay, well, the next meeting is not tomorrow at 6:30 in the forest. Let me know when it is and where it is. I appreciate it. You're welcome.
No business. Old business. New or old?
Question for old business, I'm sorry. Question, I'm not sure if this is for the mayor or for the village administrator, and maybe you don't have the answer today. Get back to me or to the board. I just wanted an update about the payment plans for the water bills. How many we have? Are we successful with collection? What's the amount outstanding?
Yeah, I can answer that really quickly. So one of your colleagues called me and asked me this question earlier today. It made me realize it'd probably be useful if the board get a report maybe every month on that. But essentially what I can say is this. The first thing that we do when somebody comes in with a water bill or a hardship that is exceedingly excessive, first thing I do is send them to Bloom Township. I tell them, before we come in here and figure this out, go to Bloom Township because they're providing water bill relief for residents. They have consistently told me that the village of Glenwood is very vastly under their program. So we send them to Bloom Township. They come back with a letter from the township that authorizes up to a certain amount. Sometimes it pays off their whole water bill. Sometimes they're still left over with a balance. In that case, that's when we start talking about the hardship program. Since this board approved that program back in June, July, we've had 7 people get on the hardship program. Two of them were due to a death in the family, immediate family. 2 were due to health reasons. 3 were due to excessive water bills because of leaks in their system. And so what the hardship program does is it does not wipe out any portion of the bill. It just takes that bill and extends it over 90 days and makes sure that the individual does not end up on the shut-off list. So we make sure that if they've entered into an agreement with the village to pay this bill off in the next days, we're not going to shut their water. We're going to keep adding late fees to their bill as they're making progress. So that's the answer to your question. But as I kind of dawned on me when I was thinking about earlier, I did realize it'd probably be helpful if I did a report to the board, maybe monthly, just so you have an idea where that's at. But as I said, I think the board approved it in June. We've gotten 7 total come through since then. So it's not a very large burden. Thankfully, our software can't handle it, so we're keeping track of it on paper, Janet and I. So kudos to Janet for tackling that and making sure that everything's kept straight.
Any other old business? Public comments, this is an opportunity. We have 3 minutes to address anything your heart. The clerk will time you.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Fields.
But also say that the EU ductwork needs attention too over there also. Madam Mayor and Board, thank you for the progress that's being made. Just a note on the HVAC system over in the field house, the ductwork needs attention also. I'm here to give a quick update on where we stand with the beautification committee. We have had 5 meetings already, and we have had input from all parts of Glenwood. I've had additional interviews with some people who are no longer in Glenwood, but were tenants of Glenwood, and I've talked to some of the businesses. The purpose is to promote community aesthetics while improving public spaces and open spaces, engage with both the residents and businesses by recommending partnerships, practices, and programs to the board and elected officials. Our targeted marketing strategy is simple. It's to promote community pride and enhance the quality of life for all residents while welcoming and encouraging new residents and business into Glenwood by marketing. Our roadmap is simple. It's to outline short and long-term plans for immediate impacts. We will initiate recommendations with emphasis on the seasons while keeping financial considerations front and center. The board has a packet. You have a packet in front of you. I'll be very brief. It talks about some of the things that we've discussed throughout our meetings. And there's an outline that deals with each of the sections of Glenwood that we have heard from. We're engaging now with Old Glenwood, so we'll have additional information coming forth. The last page is a page of the objectives, and we're looking at it in long and short-term intervals. We're considering short-term to be something like 1 from now to 1 to 2 years, while the long terms will be up to 4 years. We've outlined 6 particular areas: village ordinances, abandoned vacant homes, community pride, promoting new programs, and attracting new residents and businesses. You can review that. I'm available. The committee is available with any questions you might have in the future. I want to close with this. We have a young person on our committee, Mariah Smith. She's a youth advocate. She was raised in Glenwood, and she is a Glenwood resident. She has went through the school system all the way from 167 to the college that she attended. She wants to come before the board and do a brief presentation, would be no more than 4 to 5 minutes. So I'm requesting on her behalf that she be able to come before the board. Thank you.
Have her to go through the village administrator.
Got it. Will do. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Eric Slaughter, 512 Center Street. Residents and I was going to say clergy. I was doing so much work here today. Trustees, thank you for giving me this opportunity. But I wanted to make sure everyone was aware. And Trustee Brown, I appreciate the forethought, but please check with us. I had a committee meeting of our officers of the Glenwood Forest Association. We took out homeowners simply because we want to be very inviting to the amount of renters that we have. So we're working diligently to try to understand how we can ensure that the renters, which is a large propensity of the forest, are included, because right now they're excluded from everything and they don't feel that they're included rather in anything. We also want to take a look at the homeowners that are, or the corporations in some cases that are renting to these folks, and make sure that we have everything correct before we move forward. So we collectively, again, meeting at my home a few weeks ago, decided on quite a few things. And one is we like to invite and include not only everyone of the village, but also the folks that feel maybe a little bit more neglected than others, and that's Old Glenwood. We took out homeowners because, again, we want to be inclusive. We are also putting together all of the bylaws, looking at accounts and things of this nature. So we have decided efficiently to postpone tomorrow's meeting. Thank you again. In regards to making sure we are all lockstep on the same page for our next meeting, which will be at 7 p.m. on, February 18th. So our next meeting will be February 18th. And again, it's, I wanted to make the correction on the village website as well. That will be our next meeting, and we're everyone to show up, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Slaughter. What did you say the name was? Because you want to stay away from home?
We are looking at Glenwood Forest Association and taking out homeowners. Most of the associations here are homeowners association, but in the effect that so many of our residents in that particular area, which again tends to be the voting area, are renters, they are feeling very excluded. So we wanted to make sure that it was inclusive and took out the word homeowners and replaced it with association, and also inviting members of the old Glenwood to essentially combine, or whatever original Glenwood. I'm sure there's names everywhere. I'll get it right. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? Going once, going twice. Out. Like
I'll make that motion.
a motion to adjourn? Ooh. Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Brown,
Yep.
Trustee Mosley, Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe night and stay warm.